Hi, and welcome to Quick Bites. I'm Chef Z with Virginia Western Community College's Culinary School. Today we're going to be cutting an onion, which might sound a little simple, but there's a few different ways to go about it. But the main thing is that you are as efficient as you can be, and you utilize as much of the onion as you can. So here we go with cutting an onion. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to cut off the end, but not the root end. We want to keep the root intact. And a lot of people will hack off a big chunk on one end and a big chunk on the other and then throw it away, and that's waste. So all you need to do is just cut this little tip off, throw that away, and then from here you can use your paring knife to peel the onion. Some onions are easy to peel, sometimes they're a little difficult. Now, I would peel an onion like this if I was going to cut onion rings, but if I'm going to dice it, or if I'm going to julienne it, I actually would cut it in half first, and then I would peel it because it just makes it a lot easier. Let's get off here. Okay, and then once we get all the skin off of here, then we have the onion to work with. And notice that I just peeled off the skin. I didn't peel off multiple layers, okay? Because again, that's usable product that a lot of people end up throwing away. Okay, so now at this point, we can simply take our knife and slice it if we want to make rings. And we can make them as thin or as thick as we'd like. If you wanted to make fried onion rings at home, you could make them a lot thicker. Okay, and then if you're going to want to julienne, we're going to cut it in half, and you cut it through the root because the root will hold the whole onion together. Okay, and if you want to julienne, you take your half and you just slice it this way. And because onions are layered, they will all just fall apart into your julienne. Now, some people prefer the julienne from the side, where you're actually going perpendicular to the root, and then getting a julienne like this. It's not that one way or the other is correct. It's just a matter of personal preference. My personal preference is doing it this way. Then if you want to dice an onion, you take your half and you want to make cuts all the way down to the root, but do not cut through the root. All right, and you make these cuts, and the bigger you make the cuts, the bigger the dice. The smaller you make the cuts, the smaller the dice. Some people like to make a couple of cuts this way horizontally, but be careful because that can be a little dangerous. And then you're going to start slicing. And again, because it's layered, it's going to fall apart into your dice. And if you wanted to mince it, then you would take your dice and you would just run your knife through it until you get it to the small mince size that you prefer. And in case you're wondering why I'm not wearing gloves, we only need to wear gloves when we're handling food that will not be cooked any further. I plan to saute these onions, so it's okay to cut them without gloves. And that's pretty much how we dice and slice an onion. When you get down to the root, though, after you've cut through the whole onion, when you get to the root, you can actually use it as a handle, hold on to it, keep making your cuts, and then this is our waste right here. So you can see from this onion, this is all of our waste. It's mostly skin and two little ends, where, as I said before, most people hack off big ends on either side, and that's a lot of waste, and you're paying for that product. Same thing with cucumbers, with zucchini. People will hack off a big fat end and a big fat on the other end, and it's all waste. So all you need to do is just take a little tip off, and then you can use the whole product. That's an onion.